So I've seen little to almost no advertising for this movie, and it scared me before pressing play. And the thing is that the trailer for this, it looks okay. Like I was ready to watch this just to support Dylan Sprouse and Keenan Lonsdale, both of whom I am a fan of. But after seeing this, it could have been worse. Hello, everyone, and welcome to For the Agenda. My name is Huang, and today I'm going to be talking to you about the newest film from Amazon Prime Video, My Fake Boyfriend, starring Keenan Lonsdale, Dylan Sprouse, and Sarah Hyland. So, this film is a queer rom com following stuntman Andrew, played by Keenan Lonsdale, who is hung up on his extremely toxic actor boyfriend, Nico. No matter how many times they break up, Nico manages to find his way back into Andrew's heart, much to the dismay of his best friends, Kelly and Jake, played by Sarah Hyland and Dylan Sprouse. Now, after the couple's 10th breakup, Andrew's friends decide to take matters into their own hands and create a perfect and fake boyfriend for their friend named Cristiano in order to make Nico jealous. However, when a potential new love interest enters Andrew's life, will he be able to keep up this web of lies and still be able to fall for the possible man of his dreams? The plot of this is pretty simple and straightforward. Seems like a film with a believable plot. You go with the flow. While I was nervous about watching this film, I found out this was made by BuzzFeed Studios. I I have mixed feelings about the film. It's not awful. I think a lot of people will probably hate this. Um, a fair comparison for me right now would be it's not as bad as the after films, but some people may compare this to the recent He's All That in terms of quality. This movie takes the aspect of fake dating, I think, way too far at times to be believable. The way, Jake creates Cristiano with his Photoshop skills, even though Cristiano was actually played by a real life model, there's no Photoshop obviously whatsoever. It's actually painfully obvious in the way they try to explain how they came up with the design for Cristiano. I mean, I bought it, but after thinking about it, I'm like, I don't see it. Also, the film features like a lot of product placement. I mean, you are literally in the BuzzFeed studio for one scene. As for the script, it was quite cringeworthy at times. At times I even had to pause the movie, take a tiny break to properly digest what was going on. But the only reason this worked for me is because of the acting provided by Keenan Lonsdale, Dylan Sprouse, Sarah Hyland, and Summer Salem. Without their charisma, this film would honestly be an abysmal time to get through. Again, I am a fan of Keenan Lonsdale and Dylan Sprouse, so obviously I stuck it out for them. Sprouse and Hyland in this film play the supportive ally friends, even though they really meddle a lot in their friend's business. And, with their relationship, I thought they had great chemistry. I think Sarah Hyland's upbeat tone really brought a lot of energy to the character. Samar Salem actually does a really nice job with his role here. It could have been very basic, something we've seen before, something out of a Hallmark movie, even, but he has this charm that kind of gets you invested into his character. I thought that was great. Keenan Lonsdale, he carries this movie. He does a really great job with a role that needed some maybe better writing. He does the most with the role and he makes it work as he normally does. He really makes every character he has pop on screen and work. Now, while some characters here feel like archetypes, others have some kind of awkward and even some toxic moments that will maybe have people just stop the movie maybe midway. There's an arc with one character named Leon that I absolutely loathed. Like, I hated it. And honestly, this is not the actor's fault. It's the way it was written and what the character says and what it implies in this case for Keenan Lonsdale's character. I just didn't like that. I thought it was really, really out of place. And honestly, it just kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. Also, obviously, Nico's character as well proves that there are still people out there who are like very toxic, even though they have a really good looking exterior. Like, honestly, no one should have a boyfriend like that because he does some really shitty things to Keenan Lonsdale's Drew. But the acting for his character, it was believable. It worked. I thought that was good. But the character, yikes. And even Dylan Sprouse's Jake has some toxic tendencies within the film. Because, yeah, at first he was looking out for his friend, and then he meddled too much into his friend's life, and he gets very obsessed with the idea of Cristiano and what happens with him within the film. He does take off on social media. It's very predictable. The film is very predictable. You're going to guess that like 20 minutes in, 30 minutes in. You'll guess that for sure. And you could chalk up what happens to Jake as a character flaw, but honestly, it does come off a bit toxic. But I think the main problem with this film is that the idea is actually good for a cheesy rom-com, and it even has a great scene where two characters are roller skating, but the script, you know, has some good ideas in here, but it's outweighed by a lot of elements that needed to be reworked. I have no idea how this script didn't have a lot of red pen marks all over it. There's a lot I think could have been fixed here. You know, Essentially this film ends up being entertaining in a trashy way. This still isn't the worst thing I've ever seen either. At times I was even entertained, but again, that's purely thanks to the acting. And I'm harsher on the critiques with this film because the acting here was really good, that I just wish they had gotten a script that was worthy of their performances. Again, at first, this film does seem believable, but it gets so chaotic that it ends up falling apart. And at one point, pushes aside the queer narrative and representation and loses sight even of the message that this film should be sending. There could be an audience for this, but as for is it a must see? No, I can't say it's a must see. Only if you really like any of the actors or actresses here. I don't think there's a lot of faith in this. And after seeing this, I have no idea how you release this so close after Hulu released Fire Island, which I've seen a lot of people loving and really connecting with. I just don't see the same effect happening with this film. Unfortunately, there's a lot that outweighs what could have been really good. So overall, My Fake Boyfriend, it's not awful. It's not. I personally didn't hate it, but that quartet of actors really had to do some heavy lifting with this script. The movie is sometimes funny. It's very well acted, predictable, but it's overall a mess that could have worked had there been some rewrites that would have saved this. If you're interested, you can check this movie out on Amazon Prime Video. As for my rating, I'm gonna go with a 5 out of 10 purely for the acting and the small moments that I did enjoy in this movie. So that is my review of My Fake Boyfriend. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, you can hit the like button and subscribe. I'd greatly appreciate it. And you can follow me on Twitter and Letterboxd at Leading Mohicans. Remember, regardless of what others feel about the things you love, it's always for the agenda. Bye.